For a lot of us, the Poco X2 wasn't the phone we were hoping for. But given that the Poco F1 successor is expected to come soon, we can keep that disappointment aside for this video. Yes, the Poco X2 is a rebranded version of the Redmi K30 that was unveiled in China last year. Because with the X2, you're getting a lot of smartphone for the price that you're paying. Hey guys, it's Prashant Parekh from Mashable India, and this is our full review of the Poco X2. To make things easier for you guys, we'll split this review in two halves. What's smashable and what's not smashable. What's good and what's not good. So, let's start with all the things that make the Poco X2 completely worth its price. The Poco X2's display is one reason why it's got so much attention. The X2 has a 6.67-inch massive Full HD display that has a refresh rate of 120Hz. For context, the Asus ROG Phone 2 is the only other phone to have a 120Hz display, and it costs twice as much as the base variant of the Poco X2. The refresh rate of 120Hz makes the user experience really smooth. While it's not as refined as software on OnePlus phones, I'm not complaining given the price of the phone. But just so you know, some elements of the OS lack the smoothness. But nonetheless, expect the UI to feel really smooth. Although I would have preferred the AMOLED display on the Redmi X2, the LCD display of the Poco X2 isn't quite bad. The Full HD display is really nice to look at, has good viewing angles, and is quite legible in sunlight. In terms of design and build quality, the Poco F1 didn't really grab a lot of attention with its bathtub notch and its polycarbonate back. If the Poco F1 was discreet, the Poco X2 is flashy. The phone is a glass and metal sandwich like the Redmi X2 and makes use of Gorilla Glass 5 on either side. The LCD display doesn't allow for an in-display fingerprint sensor, hence now resides on the side within the power button. The sides of the back curves into the edges and gives a really ergonomic hold on the phone. Speaking of the back, the quad camera module is housed in a circle that, although is flat, gives the impression of being raised. The phone comes in three colorways: purple, red and blue. While I really like the overall design of the phone, I have to say the phone is not light or small by any standards. And personally, I like the design of the Redmi X2 a bit better. The Poco X2 doesn't have a Snapdragon 800 series chipset. Instead, it's powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G that is possibly the best chip you can get in this price segment. Technically, the 730G isn't as powerful as the Snapdragon 845 in terms of CPU and GPU, but it does bring in improvements in terms of cameras and artificial intelligence. Coupled with the software and the Snapdragon 730G, the X2 is quite a treat to use. Applications open without much ado and gaming performance is pretty good too. Unfortunately, for PUBG players, the X2 doesn't support extreme FPS, which means you can only play it at 30 frames per second. While gaming, the phone does get a bit warm, but liquid cooling ensures that it doesn't get out of control and keeps the game performance good throughout. The bottom firing speaker on the X2 is not too bad, but its placement to the left side of the bottom makes it very easy to be blocked during gaming sessions. Fortunately, for gamers, the 3.5mm headphone jack is still there. To make up for higher battery consumption of a 120Hz display, the X2 comes with a 4500 mAh battery. How does it perform? Well, it's definitely not bad. Despite setting the refresh rate at 120Hz, the phone manages to last for an entire day with medium usage and about an hour of gameplay. But I'm pretty sure a lot of you are interested to know if Poco's 27-watt fast charging tech that charges a 4500 mAh battery beats the Realme X2's 30-watt charging tech that powers a 4000 mAh battery. If you want the answer in a nutshell, yes, it does. But there's more to it. The Poco X2 doesn't seem to make use of trickle charging between the 90 and the 100% mark. And this is exactly where it beats the Realme X2. Now, I'm not sure, but in the longer run, this might affect the battery life. If there was one thing that I wasn't expecting, is how enjoyable the Poco's camera experience would be. Headlining the setup is a 64-megapixel Sony IMX686 sensor, which is actually the first on a smartphone in India. The sensor does a wonderful job in capturing detailed daylight shots that boast of good dynamic range and natural-looking colors. The X2 doesn't produce shots that are as saturated as the ones we've seen on Realme, Samsung and Vivo phones. The X2's ultra-wide camera does a decent job in daylight conditions, but in terms of lens parity, the X2 isn't quite there yet, meaning that the images taken from the ultra-wide camera don't match the images taken from the 64-megapixel sensor in terms of detail, colors, and dynamic range. Night mode does a good job in taking low light shots, but it's not something that will blow your mind away. The macro sensor too does a decent job in good lighting conditions. The sensor's autofocus capabilities make things a bit easier to shoot. Lastly, the 2 megapixel depth sensor, even the one on the front, does a great job in separating the subject from the background. The Poco X2 is easily the best camera phone in its price segment. Building on the portrait experience, there is an all-new movie mode that clips the aspect ratio of images to about 1.8:1. While this might not sound like a big deal, I'm kind of surprised that no smartphone OEM thought of this before, because clicking pictures in the portrait movie mode is quite enjoyable. If the rise of smartphones has made content creation easier, the vlog mode on the Poco X2 makes it easier than ever to present this content. You can choose from 7 different presets and shoot videos in slots of up to 3 seconds. Once you're done shooting, the phone will process the videos into a short edited clip with background music to match. My only complaint with this is that you can't pre-select the music or shoot longer videos. The phone can also shoot up to 4K at 30 frames per second and has support for electric image stabilization, which lets it produce better videos than the comparable Redmi X2. Now, let's talk about all the things that aren't so great on the Poco X2. Firstly, software. The Poco X2 runs on Android 10, which runs MIUI 11 on the top. But since it's a Poco phone, it comes with the Poco Launcher, which gives you an app drawer and some additional features. But apart from that, it's pretty much MIUI. This is one way Xiaomi and Poco can offer good hardware at aggressive prices. It kinda kills the experience. The ROG Phone 2 could switch between 60Hz, 90Hz and 120Hz depending on your requirements. The X2 can only switch between 120Hz and 60Hz. There's no stop for 90Hz in the settings. Given that the Poco X2 isn't excellent in terms of battery life, I would have really appreciated the 90Hz display setting. While the Poco X2 might not be the phone we expected it to be, the 120Hz display, the 4500 mAh battery, the Snapdragon 730G, and the enjoyable quad camera setup make this phone a great purchase in this segment. If you liked what you saw, leave a like down below and say subscribe to our channel for more such content. This is Prasham Parekh signing off on behalf of Mashable India.